Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to your very first third grade homework assignment that is a flipped video. I'm so excited that we get to start this journey together and kind of partake in some learning and some video watching at home. So just to start off, just so you guys kind of understand what our videos are going to look like, this is kind of how it's going to start. You're going to get your I can statement, and this is a really great way for you to understand what your goal of the video is going to be and what we're going to be learning. So today's video is going to be all about place value. So we're going to learn how to determine the place value of numbers up to 10,000. So the big idea today is going to be all about place value. So when we think of place value, we think of the numbers and what they represent. So let's just do a quick little example. We have 34. So when you think about that place value, you want to think in your head, what does each number represent? Well, you would say that the 4 is showing us the 4 sits in the ones place, and the 3 is going to be in our tens place. So the place value of that 4 is 1. So hopefully this is kind of familiar for you. Maybe you've heard of our place value house. We have different places numbers get to sit. It's almost like at the dinner table, you maybe have your own seat that you sit in. That's your place that you sit. So if a number is sitting in this very first spot, it's in the ones place. If it's in our second spot, it's the tens place. If it's in the 100 spot, sits in this 100 spot, it would be that 9. So I want you to think in your head right now. You can go ahead and share it out loud here in just a second. What number sits in the tens place? If you said 5, you're right. The 5 sits in the tens place. What number is in the hundreds place? The 9. The 9 is in the hundreds place. So when we think about that number 9, that 958, that 9 really is saying that you don't have 9 as in 9 pencils or 9 fingers. You actually have 900. And the same with the 5. We already said that 5 is in the tens place. So what does that 5 really mean? Is it 5 cookies? Well, it would be 5 cookies if it was in the ones place, but it's actually in the tens place. So we would say that 5 equals 50. And then finally our 8 sits in the ones place. So the 8 is merely 8. So 8 cookies, 8 cupcakes, 8 fingers. That 8 equals 8. So as we keep thinking about our houses, we have our first house here, our greenhouse. You'll see we have our hundreds, our tens, and our ones. So if I put a 3, a 6, and a 2, we have 263. The 3 is in the ones place. The 6 is in the tens. The 2 is in the hundreds. But as you see, we have another house here, our yellow house. That's going to get us into the thousands. So in our yellow house, instead of just saying ones or tens or hundreds, we're going to remember to use this word at the top with 1,000. And we're going to say 1,000, 10,000, and 100,000. So let's put some numbers in here. Let's say 724. So if I was going to highlight that 4, the 4 is in the hundreds, thousands place. So I would say 400,000. If you can read this number, you think you can say it with me? Go ahead and do that with me right now. let me start over. 427,263. Whoa, that was a big number. Say it with me again. 427,263. That was a big number, wasn't it? Now let's kind of break that number down into parts or pieces. So if I was going to say, what place does that 2 sit in? What would you say? If you said hundreds, you're right. The 2 sits in the hundreds place. So the place value of the 2 is 100. Let's look at that 2 again. But this time, instead of looking at the place value, let's talk about the value, or how much that number is worth. How much do you think that 2 is worth? $2? $20? $200? $2,000? How much do you think you have if you pulled that 2 out of that number? If you said 200, you're correct. The value, or how much money it's worth, is 200. So the 2 big things that I really need you to take away from this video are the 2 words value and place value. When you think about the value of a number, you're thinking about how much it's worth. So like this example in 236, that 3 isn't just worth $3, it's worth 30 because it's sitting in that tens place. So that number itself is worth 30, but the place it's in is the tens place. Let's do a few examples together. Let's say I have the number 3,296. I want to know what place that 3 is in. If you think about your places, we have thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. The place that number sits in is the thousands place. But now let's think of another number here. Let's look at the 9. Now this time I want you to tell me the value of the 9. How much is that 9 worth? The value of the 9 is 90. Here's another challenge for you. The 4, what place does that 4 sit in? The 4 is in the 10,000s place. But the value of the 4 is 40,000. Wouldn't it be nice to have $40,000 in your pocket right now? So I guess the big piece is, like I said a minute ago, is really to determine the difference between the value and the place value. So I'm going to give you 3 problems, and I want you to tell me the place value of these 3 numbers. So on this one, you're going to find the place value, and I'm going to have you write that down on your WSQ, your whisk. I want you to write down the place value of the underlying digit. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and write down what place value the underlying digit is sitting in. On the next slide, I want you to pause it, and on the next slide, I'm going to give you the answers. Okay, so here's your answers. On number 1, you should have gotten that the 2 is sitting in the tens. Number 2, that 7 the ones place, and for number 3, the 4 is sitting in the thousands place. We're going to do 3 more problems, and this time I want you to look for the value of the number. I want you to give me the value of the number that's represented. So go ahead and pause your video and tell me the value or how much those numbers are worth that I've underlined in each one. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and check your answers, number 1, that 3, the value of the 3 or how much you have if you pulled that 3 out would be 30,000. The 3, 300, and the 1 is sitting in the tens place, so it would be 10. That is all we have today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I kind of a fun thing I like to do at the end of our video is to give a joke, and we'll talk about it in class the day the video is due. And our joke today is, how do you get a Kleenex to dance? So I want you to think about that, and when I see you in class to talk about our video, we will talk about the joke too. Have a fabulous evening, and I will see you soon. Bye.